Hey there and welcome back, and we're going to be making the details for all of these market stalls. So each one's going to be slightly different, and as you may have seen if you watched the basic structures bit, there is already some slight variation in these basic structures. And as you might be able to see in the background here, I already started doing this because I was thinking about this when I was making these three, and I started sticking stuff together and I was like, oh, what am I doing? So I'm just going to go through each building and show you the pieces that I've made for each building one at a time, and how they're going to go on. And you'll get to see all three buildings complete by the end of this. So, building number one. And I shall call him Galvatron, because, well, he looks a bit like a transformer in some respects. But, never mind. So first of all, these are just cocktail sticks. I've cut them down to size and they fit into these gaps here. So you'll notice that a lot of these details revolve around where there's gaps in the building. And so that just fills in that, gives us a nice round. Next bits I've cut are these bits. I think I'm going to have them this way up. And they'll just fit into here. And that just provides a little bit of extra bonus cover and makes it a little bit easier to put your guy who's hiding on this corner in cover. So it's also a design feature. Then flipping around to the back of the building, I've made the door, which will go here. And in order to keep these doors stupid simple, it's just going to be a lean-to roof that fits in over the top. And then because I really dislike these lines, I've cut out sections which will fit neatly either side of the door. Now if I'd been terribly clever, I would have made this angle coincide with the angle on the roof, but I haven't, so there's going to be some slight variation there. And on this one at least, it'll sit inside that angle. And here's number two. I call this simple front, complicated back. So again, we've got cocktail sticks cut down into the right size sections. There's some variation in the heights, but yeah, they fit into the gaps. So all of this will be blocked out. No additional cover angles on these. Again, this keeps the buildings interesting because it means that you can't just deal with them the same way every time. And each building is a slightly different problem for the players. Now, these are offcuts from Central Tower build, so they're already in nice shape, don't have to fuff on. I've got these, so these will slot on into these slots, just like with the other ones. And I've pre-marked the line of where I want this to go across. And so this will act as the runner for the door. And in addition to that, we have a roof section which will go over like so, except this time it'll overlap a little bit. And yeah, on this particular one there's going to be a little gap where at the top where there's nothing filling it. Just looks a bit capped, but that's fine. It's a minimal gap, so I'm not too fussed about that. And also then there's the door. And all of the doors are slightly different again, so that there's the triangle theme etched into all of them, but these angles on the corners are slightly different on all of them. It was just to keep the variety going. So onwards. So the last one, I'm going to call this one Dumbo, because he's got Dumbo like ears. I'm going to do these again. This is like, gives you a distinct cover from this angle. But also it means there'll be an additional signboard on either side. Hence Dumbo. It's got big ears. Up front, instead of using the cocktail sticks, I just cut these. Again, these are from offcuts which happen to be 50mm, so I only had to cut them in two. And I will sit them like so, so that we have runners that stick in or bits that come out from the edge of the kiosk, just so that then not all the kiosks aren't like the same at the front. Then on the back you can see I've already cut out these, and this is just the two of these are cut out of a single piece, so that if I grabbed the other one and flipped it upside down, this bit would then be mirrored here and there would be the edge. and then I've just cut a diagonal off at the bottom edge just to feed it back into the building. Again, it's just a simple lean-to. Unfortunately, because when I made this, I didn't have the roof to make sure that these were stuck the correct width. The roof won't actually sit flush with them, but more for me, and again, it just makes for the variety. Slightly different door again. Acts as the runner. So when fitting this, the only thing that I really care about is that it acts as the runner. So I'm going to get on, get everything assembled, and I'll be back in a mo and I'll show you each individual building. First of then, here's Galvatron complete. And you can see how I've used the cocktail sticks as coping. You've got a little bit of cover either side. More of a cover enhancer than actual cover. Flipping around, you have pretty decent cover at the back here, and the roof acts as the slider for the door, so you can open and shut the door, which is obviously a feature of all the buildings I make as much as possible. You can't quite see it, but there's still a hole in the bottom of the CD. I'm not particularly fussed about that, although if you want to put interiors in, I'm not dealing with interiors on buildings quite yet, although maybe in the future I will do something to do with that. And I might still do something on the interiors of these, but that'll be for another day. You might notice there's no roof access as such. Not really fussed about that, although I could use stairwells to go up to the tops of these and then use walkways to link them together on the rooftop areas. So there's a lot of possible options there. I did contemplate putting walls on the top, but I want to keep these pieces quite small. There is a bit of overlap over the edges, but the three should fit into a very confined space. Also, they are good line of sight blocking, and the variety, as you'll see in a bit, means that each one provides a slightly different terrain advantage, or advantages from different angles, so you can interact with each building slightly differently. Next up is the simple front. So there's no real cover from the front apart from the desk here and just working the angles, but complicated back. So as we flip around to the back, we find there's a lot of cover. And then there's this double roof. I did mess up the roof. The original roof, which is now the lower roof, wasn't wide enough, so I ended up using the original roof as intended, but creating this double roof because otherwise it just didn't look right. And then again, we've got the runner here so that you can open and close the door. Some pretty decent cover in here and here, although mind out, you might get your feet shot off. So again, a slightly different prospect in terms of dealing with cover. Also, no ladders or anything, but maybe that's another detail. No interiors as such yet either. And again, I think that might be another detail for another day. We shall see. I might do the interiors on these. I quite fancy doing like just putting in some shelves, maybe something that looks vaguely like a cooker or something, just to add that extra couple of touches of realism, I suppose. Realism isn't maybe quite the right word, but at least heading towards realistic. So here's Dumbo. It's got cover either side here. Flipping around, he doesn't really got any cover, but what he has got is, because he's got these kind of high flag-like signposts, a bit of extra cover versus snipers shooting from on high. So if you are sort of in the dead ground around here, you might actually be able to use them just to hide from snipers, or get close to the wall and be able to shoot up, be shot at. Again, got the door slider. Nothing really at either end of this one because these are quite sort of slim and tight, but it's just enough. Not so fussed about these doors being sort of permanent fixtures, so they can come out relatively easy. Yeah, and there they are, all separate. So then here you have them all grouped up together. You can see like here there's enough space, you could actually have someone in decent cover, sort of in between the two buildings there. They can be linked up. You can just see in the foreground, sort of, you can have the lurking. That's them as a group. So I hope you've enjoyed this, been some use to you, and that you're building all the buildings you want in the way you want them, and they're coming out really well. Thanks for watching, have a good one and take care. Bye bye.